To solve our completing the square problems, when a is not equal to 1, we need to look at a very carefully and figure out how we're going to make this easier for ourselves. We had these 5 steps in completing the square, but when a is not equal to 1, we have to first divide both sides by a to get rid of that. So we're going to divide that whole equation by minus 3. The reason we're doing this is to get x squared by itself, because minus 3 divided by minus 3 is a 1. That's where my 1 is out front here. There's a 1x squared right there. Okay, don't need to leave it there. Just leave this like this. Plus 24x divided by minus 3. Remember that this whole thing goes, 3 goes into every term, so that's going to be a minus 8x, right? You see that? Plus 24 divided by minus 3. Positive divided by a negative gives me a negative, and so that's negative 8x. Now minus 27 divided by minus 3 give me a plus 9, and now we're good to go. Okay, this one worked out pretty nicely because I am trying to get rid of the x's there and do all that. So now I move the constant to the other side of the equation. I'm looking for a perfect square. Looks like it's going to be 8 or minus 8 over 2, which is minus 4. If I square it, I get a 16, and I certainly don't have a 16 here. So let's just move that 9 over like we normally do. Okay, in completing the square, I've just moved it over. And now I take b, which is minus 8, divide by 2. That gives it a minus 4. Square the minus 4, and you will, in fact, get 16. So my b over 2 squared is 16. Okay, so I add 16 not to one side, but to both sides, like the problem says. Anything I do here, I must do to the right side of the equation as well. I basically just pulled 16 out of thin air and threw it there to make myself this perfect square, which is x minus 4 quantity squared. Right, when I do this, I'm going to get minus 8x, okay, plus the minus 4 times minus 4 gives me plus 16. Now simplify this. 16 minus 9, I think, is 7. And so now what we're going to get is this, right? We take the square root of both sides. Don't forget to take the square root of, or take the plus and minus the square root of 7 here. Okay, I didn't even write this because I know once I square it, it's really this, right? Once I take the square root of a perfect square, it just comes out as itself. And now I have this plus or minus root 7. I'm almost done, but not quite. I have to solve for x, move the 4 over, it becomes a plus 4, plus or minus root 7. And so now, really what I should write to be most proper would be plus 4 plus root 7. That's one solution. Oh, and plus 4 minus the other solution. So these are both solutions for this problem. Most quadratics have 2 solutions. There they are.